know him from Pretty Woman, Breathless, Chicago, the list goes on. Mr. Richard Gere, please. He's the executive producer of the agency and the spy in question. As Martian, two-time Oscar nominee, Mr. Michael Fassbender. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
So, a number of you have starred in thrillers, have starred in spy thrillers. How does the agency set itself apart from other works in your canon in terms of that genre?
He's looking at you, Richard.
I'm in it.
One of us actually wants to talk. Yeah, I'm trying to think of this. I haven't done a spy.
But you've done your fair share of thrillers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of the characters you've played have dealt
You
with.
know what it is? I rarely play a boss.
Okay.
I'm usually one of these left field, right field, off in the corners kind of guy. But I played the boss in this one, which was a little hard for everyone, I think, to believe that I was actually the boss.
Fair point.
These are a lot of alpha people here. They didn't want to give that up. No, but it was fun playing with these guys, and I mean, there's a lot of testosterone up on this stage. I'm sorry.
I think there's enough estrogen here to just cancel all that
No, but I think it's rare to read something that's this well written, for sure, and has the richness of character. And the writers were very responsive, I think, to all of us. Actors always have questions about character development and would I really do this and how would I really say that? Maybe there's a better way. But they were very open and responsive to all this. And I think that was, and the fact that we got along so well. I mean, the three of us, unfortunately, I don't work with Jodie. And she just told me I don't work in the second season either, which we're both really upset about. But I mean, just being able to work with these wonderful actors, things happen quite quickly, and the shooting went quickly. But we were shooting like a movie, so to me it was a movie.
Yeah, thank God we got on, actually. I was thinking that after we finished. I was like, thank goodness we all got on. Because that would have been very difficult, because, you definitely got to hit the ground running with television and, 2 weeks to shoot an episode. Got to block the scene and figure things out quickly. But I would say what maybe sets this series apart, obviously there's a lot of stuff out there in this genre at the moment. And a lot of the times I find that there's trying to pack a lot in, like to an episode. And what the agency does really well, and the original series as well, the Bureau, is it takes its time in a way that, maybe like a book would do. You're introduced to the characters. There's such an intelligence to the setup of everything, and then the payoff comes down the line. And for an audience, I think you've got to lean in a little bit. You've got to do a bit of work yourself. They're always the kind of things that I find most rewarding. And I think by the time you start to get into episode 3, 4, 5, things then just start cinching up, and all the things that have been introduced in the first couple of episodes start to materialize and come together, all the different sort of threads and storylines. It's very smart writing, as Richard said.
Yeah, I think as well, the way that it differs from certainly things that I've been a part of in the past is that it's really grounded in kind of geopolitical reality that reflected what's happening in the real world. So at the same time, it was intensely human. It was very much about the relationships that these people have, these civil servants, these federal employees. That was really the focus of it, but the backdrop is really drawn from the headlines. So, going forward, the show will take place in a dystopian, chaotic circus on Mars.
I won't be going to Mars.
But it was that attention to detail in terms of kind of creating the stage for us to play on that was so relevant and timely and thoughtful that, for me at least, relative to other projects, similar projects that I've been a part of, really separated it from those.
Jody, can you tell us how Sammy carves out a path in this male-dominated spy intelligence world?
Well, Sammy is, not really, she's not a spy. And so it still kind of is male dominated, but I think it's realistic in that we all know that for a lot of people, what motivates them is love, right? And so even when she's not necessarily on screen, she's still there. You can still see how she's driving the continuously more frenetic actions of the incredible Michael Fassbender. And so in a way, it was like I didn't even really have to struggle to carve out any space. Also, I think, a great actor is going to be telling a story in a way that's making you think of these relationships, even when that person's not on screen. And that's really what Michael does. So I get to actually take up a lot of space in this show, even when I'm not on screen. And I think that's so interesting and really fun.
Yeah, I mean, Bosco's, I don't know that he's knowable. And I was kind of happy that he was written that way. This is a guy who's got to play many different roles in this, and I wanted it to feel like someone who had been out in the cold himself. He'd been out there. He knows the territory. He knows the mental, emotional state of someone who's out there. And it's questionable identity, self-identity. He's got to be a daddy figure to almost all these guys. And for the most part, he's the only one who knows what's going on. There's one episode, I remember, I said to him, I said, look, even I don't know what's going on. And in the end, these guys look to him. And I have to earn that from them, that I'm going to make a right decision. But I love that basically all these characters are Dostoevskian kind of characters who are in a morally ambivalent world. They're all good people. They're all doing their best to make things right in some bizarre sense for their country, for themselves. They know there's bad things they got to do. And I think with all of us, it's unclear where that line is that we cross, if we're even aware of where that is, and when that happens in the telling of the story. But I think we're all kind of riding that razor's edge of wanting to do good for our country, for the world, being kind of demented, crazy people, which I think everyone who does these kind of jobs are, but being responsible citizens at the same time. It's a peculiar kind of character to play that way. And there was one episode that I was going to discuss my wife, and I talked to the writers about it. I said, he doesn't have a wife. If he does, he's not going to talk about it. And he's not going to name her. This is kind of unknowable stuff to him. And I don't think anyone around him, we're pretty close in this story. But there's stuff that he doesn't know about me, for sure. And I hope we keep it that way over these seasons.
Are you privy? can you tease anything about season 2, setting, otherwise, anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, you know, the way that the show is set up, you know, in the first season, it is kind of this slow burn. And then things really start ratcheting up around sort of episode 5, 6, and it just ramps up to the end of the first season, and then it just doesn't let up in season 2. So the walls just keep coming in, and the vice grip just keeps getting tightened. It's really great writing in season 2 again. I'm very excited for people to see it because you know, that tension and that sort of jeopardy, it just heightens all the way through, you know, without any let up in the second season.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Awesome. Great work. Great work.
Richard, you're the best.
Yes, Richard, we love you. Hi,
Hello.
Michael.
Yes, I wore a jacket.